After risking her life to escape socialism, a Minnesota mom, business owner, and author offers a stark warning about what's taking place in Minnesota right now. Shigetu Kabedi is my guest. Thank you for being here, Shigetu. Good to see you.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, I think it's really an honor to you. Your story is incredible, surviving, I think, unimaginable circumstances to most of us, but surviving socialism in Ethiopia, then Kenya, and then finally making it here to Minnesota. I know you were in your 20s at the time, but along the way, many in your family were killed. I just wanted to start by talking a little bit about that journey.
Yes, like you say, I escaped socialism at the age of 17. I found myself in the late 70s. My parents, I have no idea or a history of who my parents are, what happened to them. But as you can imagine, our country from kingdom into socialism, it was a transit time. And then so my three brothers and I, we found ourselves in an orphanage. We became an orphan. There's no adult to take care of us. So I was five at a time. And then this socialism it grew more and more. And it took my oldest brother, and I was the second oldest. And so by the age of 16, I decided to get married just to save my two younger brothers, because every boys were forced into military, and that's the last time you'll see them. So in that transit, just got married. Few months later, I was pregnant, and the war broke in our town, and I ran for my life without my two brothers. They were younger, and I ended up in Kenya in a refugee camp after 3 years and half a later. By the way, my journey was by foot, because running away from socialism itself is a crime, and so you will be killed. And so I risk my life hiding during the day, walking during the night without having anything but the clothes I have on my back. And I got to Kenya and into a refugee camp. Before I get there, 3 times raped, beaten, thrown in jail. But by God's grace, I made it to Kenya after 3 years and a half. I gave birth to my first child in a refugee camp, and then got to United States. And so that's what my little bit of a journey looks like.
Wow, it's truly unbelievable. And I know you've been in Minnesota for more than 30 years now with a deep love of this country after all you've been through. Working here, though, as a restaurant owner, a social worker, the whole time, though, it sounds like you've become increasingly concerned about the state of affairs in Minnesota particularly. Why is that?
I am, I left my country at the age of 17, and Minnesota has been my home all my adult life. That's what I know, what I call home. This is where I raised my 3 children, and now 7 grandchildren. And so this is home. It's I invested myself in Minnesota. Minnesota also invested in me. My success. I came as a refugee with a 3-year-old and 3 suitcases, empty-handed. I didn't have a penny to my name, and I made a name for myself. I became successful business person, a speaker, and author. That happened because I lived in the state of Minnesota, and Minnesota has made me who I ought to be. I have been given my humanity back here in Minnesota, and so that's why it's so close home to me. This is home. This is all I know, and this is why I care about Minnesota.
And it was the George Floyd riots in 2020 that I know hit close to home for you.
Yes, all the street from Lake, from Chicago all the way to University Avenue, all the buildings that have been burned, all the business that has been trashed. I invested my time in it. Whose business supposed to be there? I volunteer my time almost a year to make sure minority, women, people of color have a business when we redo the Lake Street. So personally, I knew every business owner in those corridors. I also was a business owner. I care about Minnesota. And when I see that riot, it have nothing to do with anybody's life, but to destroy the life of minority, the life of people of Minnesota that work so hard. And that's why it's so hurt to see that, including my own business, a building burned to the ground.
As a refugee yourself, where are you about immigration, the border crisis? In Minnesota alone, we know 80,000 illegal immigrants are eligible for driver's licenses now. They're free college, food and cash programs to lure people here. Why should people in Minnesota, be concerned by all of this? And you offer an interesting perspective, I know, on this subject.
We, we need to be concerned. I left socialism at the age of 17 because I knew it doesn't work. And that's not how any human being that God have created to be inhabitable in this earth to live. So today, the opening of a border, that have nothing to do with being humanitarian. I have done so many charitable work with my own money. There is a right way to do it. I am an immigrant. This country is built by immigrants, but there is the right way to do it. Opening a border like this and flooding people into our country without vetting them, without doing in the right way, because there are a lot of people who wanted to come to this country for education, family reunion, for work, but they're waiting to do it the right way. And someone open a back door and we are flooding people in. The danger of that is, for one, we don't know who's coming in. Second of all, we are seeing the result. The fentanyl that is coming in through the border is destroying our future. Every city you drive through, every city that you walk through, I love Minneapolis, and my kids and I, we walked every single day. We love to walk, we love to go out for a run. You can't do that now. So much homelessness. All the young people are addicted to drugs, and you see the homelessness gangs coming into our country and destroying our future. We need to become an adult. We need to become a people that have order, and we can't just this happen. And this, and also really today the politicians and the media is using it. Anyone speaking against this is racist. You need to understand, we all live in the house. Yeah, the house have a door and a window. If the reason you have a door and a window is so you will allow who to come in and not to. Your window is your way of outlooking. No, you don't allow anyone to jump through your window. You want anyone who wanted to come to your house to come to the door, knock, and then you will look at that person, and if you feel that person have a right or a business to be in your house, you allow them. A country is made out of homes. It works in the same way. We can't just open our door. How many of us have opened our door and people just from the street walk into our house, help themselves about everything we have in our home? We don't do that. Then how come we're doing it that to our country? We need to have an order. We need to have a border. We need to have a security. That's what makes a nation a nation.
In fact, as a social worker, you spent years helping people to get off public assistance and welfare because you never believed in those programs from the beginning.
No, I welfare, for those who are in the welfare, I want them to understand, if someone is giving you something, it's very limited. God did not create human being to be dependent on someone else's goodwill. There is a charitable way of doing things. I'm not against that. I have done it all my life. I have received it also on the time that I needed it. For 3 months, when I first came to United States, I was on the welfare. I need to learn a little bit of the language. I need to know how to do things. I need to get the driving license. Yes. But after that, I have never been in the welfare. And I work very, very hard to teach other immigrants and get many women out of the welfare system, because when you work, when you earn money, you will have to, first of all, a dignity to be human. Because the Bible says, man should not eat if it doesn't work. It's a shame when they put you in the welfare, they are saying you're not human being. You are not deserve to have everything I have. You've been limited. So I wanted to teach the young people. I wanted to teach immigrants. You can do it because this is, you know what attract all of us to America, including our forefathers who built this country. That we can create things. All we need is an opportunity and a freedom. That was what America is built on. So when we came as a new immigrant, we need to follow that footstep. We need to be inventors. We need to be creators. We need to be writers. We need to be this and that, and add to this beauty that we have. It's been given to us. We're not going to be the people who destroy it, what has been created for us. So I have taught that to many of the immigrant communities. I got women out of the welfares. I got children to come out of a public school and to be really the best they can be. Most of the kids that have been through my after school program to date, they all went through the higher education. And so it is doable, it is possible.
Shigetu, I know you have supported President Donald Trump in the past. You even have a bit of a video series called A Refugee for Trump. Why have you so publicly supported him?
Until Trump, I was independent. I vetted people. What I believe, the value that I have, if a person have it, I vote for them. I've never been a party person. But once Mr. Trump came into the scene, I have seen so many lies about the refugee, because I was a refugee at the age of 17. I was a teenager in a refugee camp. I know what that looks like. I also went and worked in a refugee camp, and I have worked here in the United States as a social worker. Also, I have my own programs and work with the refugees for many, many years. So everything was a lie. And then the other thing I'm really, really passionate about Mr. Trump is that he cares about our country. What we're seeing today is really America needs to wake up. If you don't have a country, if you don't have a nation, you are not going to be anything or anyone. How are you going to fulfill your dream? We all have a dream. We all have a family we need to take care of. But that only happens when you have a country. I left an orphan at the age of 5 because socialism came, and anyone who stood in front of them, they wiped them off. That is coming to our country. We have been so different than what the founding fathers have founded for us. We have been so away from our principle for too long. I'll say maybe 50, 60, 45 years. And in the last few years, we are speeding up so much. And I'm so worried for our nation because this is home. This is where my kids grew up. This is where now my grandkids are growing up. And I have no place else to go. And I wanted to fight for our nation.
You've written about in the past how socialism, first they build up political correctness, often as one of the first steps, and then they target free speech and religion. You can't help but, kind of see those similarities to what we've been through in Minnesota, especially these last few years.
Like you mentioned, I have written a book called Appeal to Heaven for a Great Nation. I really wanted to appeal to our nation. People have no idea. When I came to this country, the law of the land was after you have lived for 5 years, you can study the American history and become a U.S. citizen. By doing so, when I'm studying the American history, I understood why we are the envy of the world. This country is literally the biblical principle of how human beings are supposed to be living in anywhere. In 1800s, we have a mosque. We have the temple for a Chinese, a Buddhist temple for Chinese. Only in a Christian country, in a Christian value-founded country, any other people and religion are free. You can't build a church in Saudi Arabia. You can't build a mosque, a synagogue in Iran. You just have to be one kind. But this country, this nation, the way the founding fathers have written in, the way they build it up is for every human being to have an equal right. Today, there's an enemy. Really, people need to wake up. There is an enemy to all of us equally wanted to destroy the way of America. America does not get it yet. If this election, I'm not saying Trump is a savior of America. I 100% support Mr. Trump, and I pray to God he will win. But it takes all of us waking up. Our country is at stake. When in the morning I wake up, that Mr. Key's, the bridge that is named after Francis Key's bridge collapsed. You remember that incident? I thought to myself, how many young people understood what is that bridge is named after? Why it's so important, and why that bridge collapsed, and what is God is trying to tell America today?
You also have a really interesting take on the media. You say, in fact, that they are not lying.
Media is not lying to us. Media is instructing us how to behave, how to view things. You know, earlier you say socialism censors. It's not just censor you, it will brainwash you. What did Hitler did when he came to the scene? To change everybody to hate certain group of people. He didn't go out and say, these people are bad. No, he taught them how important they are. I say America has been dismantled for the last 50, maybe 60, 70 years. They have been telling the white society of America, black people are criminals, drug addicts, dirty, thieves, and all that. Yeah, they preach that too long to people, and people bought that and have a fear of a black person. Now, once they got the white people under their thumb, now they saying to the black people, the reason why you're not succeeding is because white people are racist. What are they trying to tell us here? They are trying to tell us we need to destroy each other. They're building a wall that to divide the white and black. We have lived to coexist for the last 400 years. Yeah, we fought side by side. You have done the documentary in that police station. There was white, there was black, there's women, there's men. We are the people that really passes all this. We're not into racism. I'm not saying in America there is no racist people. There are racist people everywhere in the world. Racism has nothing to do with the skin color. Racism has to do with the heart tissue. But we really need to wake up and understand that we are, our bridge, the most important bridge in American history has collapsed. God is trying to tell us that our bridge that was hold us together, men and women fought with their own physical body to hold our flag up, is now collapsed. The symbol is that our communication system, our unity is collapsing. If we don't wake up and say, you know what, this is my nation, those are our children, this is our future. There is no in the world today, if you look, nobody opened the border like this and proudly say, we are the nation of diversity. We all believe in diversity. There is nowhere in the world anybody chopping off children who are not able to buy a cigarette, but they can alter their body for lifetime, and that's okay. We need to wake up. Someone is destroying our future. Someone is dismantling our way of life. And if we don't wake up and say, you know what, this have nothing to do about Democrat or Republican or independent or this or that or religion or anything, this is about home. This is about our country. So I think that's what I want America to wake up and understand.
What a great message. And you're right, we need a few more adults in the room. I think very, very well said all around. Shagitu Kebede, thank you so much for all you're doing for all of us. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
That'll do it for this episode of Liz Collin Reports. We'll see you next time.